So for gain structure, we have some things that we want to go over as far as the gain coming into the board. And when you're talking about gain, that affects everything downstream. Think of it as the first entry point into the board, where an instrument or a vocal mic or whatever, you're adjusting the gain to get maximum gain without distortion. For the most part, the gain should be set up on each of these channels based on what we've had up to this point. But there's always going to be a time where you're the operator and you come into a situation where you need to adjust the gain. Somebody comes in and plays a different guitar, let's say, or you have a different person using a vocal mic, and you find that maybe the gain is a little bit too high. So you need to make an adjustment on the fly. Now, would you necessarily save that to our weekly scene? Maybe, maybe not. If it's something that it looks and it seems as though we would use in the future, then maybe we save it as another scene. But from week to week, we use one scene, and that's by design. And so when we adjust the gain, it's probably for that 1 week only, because it's something special, something different, something out of the ordinary. And so when you're adjusting the gain, probably you're not going to save that to the scene. But it's a necessary thing that you need to understand, so that when somebody new comes in, a new instrument, a new vocalist or whatever, and you find that the gain is not correct, you need to know how to adjust that on the fly. By pressing this button, it puts us on week to week, the scene that we use every week. And in order to get the gain structure set properly on a particular channel, if you needed to adjust the gain, then what you would do is, first of all, you would select the channel. So let's go over here and let's select Jim. So the green light is lit on his channel, meaning you've selected it. Then you're going to come up here and you're going to hit the processing button. Under the processing button, you will see Jim's channel highlighted in green. Well, this is a touch screen, so when you come up here and you touch this round circle, it takes you to the gain structure page to adjust the gain, okay? Gain is, think of it as sensitivity. So you adjust the gain on the channel, and once the gain structure is set, you don't want to change it, because the gain will affect everything downstream. It'll affect your gates, your compression. It'll affect the in-ear monitors for everybody. So once you set the gain, you don't want to mess with it unless it's really drastically off. So in order to adjust the gain on Jim's channel, you obviously have to make sure Jim's channel is selected down here on the board, and you verify his name is up there. That's the channel that you're adjusting. Then you touch the gain knob, and then this knob over here has a highlighted color, and it will allow you to change whatever is selected. So this knob down here is a function of whatever is selected on the screen. So whatever you've selected on the screen, you can adjust it with this knob. The other way that you can adjust the gain, you'll notice up here, there's a knob called preamp, okay? The preamp is a knob that does the same thing. On this preamp screen, you'll notice that there's a meter on the right-hand side that has green, yellow, and red. Well, that's basically an indication of the signal strength coming into that channel. And what we're trying to accomplish with gain structure is to have the green just coming up to the yellow and occasionally going into the yellow. You don't want it consistently in the yellow range, and you don't ever want it going into the red. And the way you adjust this is like this. There's a preamp knob right here up on the top left, and as you turn that preamp knob, it will adjust the signal strength. You'll see it on this meter. There's also another way to do this, and that is you can touch this little box. Again, this is a touch screen. When you touch it, it turns yellow. And then if you look to the right and down on the bottom here, this knob right here will adjust whatever you have selected on this screen, and that works for any screen. So with it set up this way, and I've touched the gain button on the middle, I'm going to turn the gain up, and you're going to see this gain on the right-hand side getting higher as I talk. Notice that now it's up in the yellow, and now it's up in the red, and it's beginning to feedback, and it's beginning to distort. Well, that's not a good thing. What we want is to bring that back down so that the gain is in the green, and once in a while just touching the yellow, and then that's where it should stay. And another way of doing this is to turn the preamp knob, and you'll notice when I turn the preamp knob, the same adjustment can be made. This yellow box that on the touchscreen turned yellow, it says gain, and right now it's set to 0 dB. And you'll notice that the green is coming up, and on an occasion, it touches the yellow. That's what you want. And that's basically the way we've had it set up until this point. But to demonstrate this, I can also turn the preamp gain and do the same thing. You'll notice that the gain now is coming up into the yellow, and it's beginning to feed back in the room. Okay, that's not a good thing. So if you should run into a situation where the gain structure is too low and you need to turn it up, you can do it here at the preamp knob, or you can select this box labeled gain and then turn the yellow dial down here on the right. Another thing to be cautious of when you're adjusting the gain is the fact that it affects everything downstream. Remember, we talked about gain as the first thing as the signal enters the board, and it adjusts basically the sensitivity of that signal coming into the board. Well, you got to realize when you start turning up the gain, you're also turning up the signal going to everybody's in-ear monitors. And so I would be very, very cautious about adjusting gain, but it's a necessity at times. And so I just wanted you to understand the basics on how to do this and realize that 99.9 times out of 100, you're not going to have to adjust the gain. But you may find someday that that's a need, and I wanted you to know how to do it.